I looked at this thing. I said, "You think you'll be able to do it for that?" It's amazing when some of the plants that I see, and I see them all. And again, so big is we're letting them build their own electric generation. This way we have no problem. And otherwise they'd be complaining. There'd be nobody able to be, we have an old grid system. And not only that, they're going to sell at a very cheap price the excess electricity that they create back into our grid. So that'll solve some problems for certain states that don't have enough electricity.
We also know that on the AI, there is fierce competition between the US as the largest economy in the world, 27% of the global GDP and 5% of the global population, not doing that badly, and China. And we know that that competition is very tough on AI. I know you're heading to a state visit to China in April. How do you see the US-China relationship moving forward? Are you able?
It's been one of those days again that we see an old rambling man talking complete nonsense. But that's what everybody voted, right? That's what everybody voted. They wanted an old rambling man, clearly not right in the head. So we're talking about the Davos thing today.
Yes, good. I got set up now. I did know.
You made the job for the moderator really easy. Thank you, Mr. President, for your speech. I do have
one thing I want to say, like before we even go into all the stupid things that Trump said during the Davos speech, is that it's times like these that you have a man that has a tendency to lie way more than anyone else probably in the world, that you should have a live fact checking every time Trump opens his mouth, especially if he's out on public. There should be like a projector behind him that fact checks everything. Of course, then Trump would just stop having speeches, because that would destroy his narrative, which is like nobody questions his lies. Now, especially his fan base doesn't question any of the lies, which is bonkers.
I have a few follow-up questions, if it's okay. I don't think I should start with Greenland, maybe. I'll start with the economy. The U.S. economy is doing really, really well. But how to sustain this?
He crossed the red line, don't touch Greenland. I do agree. I do agree. Although he did say today that he's not going to use military force, which of course it's Trump, so we can't trust anything that Trump says. And that's unfortunate. Like, we have a world leader, we have a leader in the United States that, even though he says that he's not going to use military force, we can't trust that. Been writing an essay about well-being in working environment and how to enhance in social services, professional viewpoint, and early childhood education. I pray that Trump is removed from the office. I think a lot of the world is joining you on that prayer. Hey, Michael, thanks for the follow. I think a lot of people around the world is joining you. One of the wildest things he said that during his Davos speech was that Greenland isn't grateful for the United States. No, not Greenland. Denmark isn't grateful for the United States. You lie too, so what's the difference? What? I mean, Trump just said on the world stage that Denmark isn't grateful because United States gave Greenland back to them after the Second World War, which is a monumental lie, easily fact-checked. Everyone lies. Why are you singling out one person? Lance, are you that daft? Like, am I the leader of the United States? No. If you don't require your presidents or the leader of whatever country you're in to tell the truth, you're a dumbass. You're completely fucking lost in the sauce. Do you get payments from Russia? No. I'm not a Russian fan. No, 100%. Well, I'm not a fan of Kremlin and Putin. I think they should be charged for crimes against humanity. So the United States defended Greenland during World War II. Denmark could not. But Denmark owned Greenland. United States didn't give Greenland back to Denmark because United States never owned Greenland. Erase your head, thanks for the follow. Marisa also, thanks for the follow. EU-India deal to be signed on 26th of January. I mean, that's what's going to happen eventually. Like, because you can't trust the United States, EU and Europe in general is just going to turn east, which is a natural course of actions. And that, like, that's not even the stupid, like, that. Oh, great, that's a stupid lie that Trump told. That United States gave Greenland back to Denmark, which is 100% not true. But the second thing that he lied again was about windmills, that China doesn't have any wind farms, which is one of the easiest fact checks ever. And I don't know, like, does Trump's own admins hate him? Tommy, thanks for the follow. These people defend Trump because he has no class, he's bully, and they like this. April, no. I think it's because a lot of these people, for example, like Blippi here, the reason why they are diehard Trump because their whole personality is that cult. And you need to protect that cult. When somebody calls out your cult leader, you need to protect it because they're attacking you as well, because that is your personality and they have nothing else in their life. Hornet, thanks for the follow. You have no accurate information. I just left Greenland and I was also in Asia prior. Of course you were. Of course you were. But I can see from your profile that you're a diehard MAGA fan, so that doesn't look kind of good. Dan Banner, thanks for the follow. If MAGA could read, they'd be very upset with you right now. I mean, I don't understand. Like, why is it so hard for you guys to admit that Trump makes up shit, lies all the time, and he's your boss, he's your cult leader? Like, I guess that's okay. China is the leading wind energy producer for themselves, and also they produce majority of the wind turbines around the world. Trump knows that, but he still lies. Trump didn't even remember the $2,000 tariff checks a week ago. Trump is getting worse by the day. In next 3 months, I don't know what is about to unfold. Never one lie. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, but you're fucking delusional. If you're that obsessed with your cult leader that you can't admit that the lies that they tell you.
Noticed is that the more windmills, one thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses.
Name a lie. Okay, Trump claimed that China doesn't use wind power at all. China is the #1 in wind energy. Both using themselves and also production-wise. They lead both. That is a fucking lie. Easy fact check. Use the fucking internet, idiots. China has the most wind farms. It's just not loads of wind farms, but the most. Like, this is not even breaking news. I mean, it is was. Trump is self-loathing, narcissistic megalomaniac. Oh yeah. I mean, it's baffling that his admin lets these lies go out. I think they hate him. Like, I think deep down, like Stephen Miller and others hate Trump, so they don't like correct Trump at all. I think they deep down hate him.
And the worst that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good.
Well, that alone is a really funny lie, because like you can see them from the air as well. That's how huge the wind farms they have. If he's lying, then he doesn't want Greenland. What? Rotten eggs float, they are all floating, the silver lining is they're now all exposed. If Trump breathes, it means he's lying. If Trump breathes, it means he's lying.
Then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid.
This dude is just trying to rage bait. Anytime you ask a question, there's quite a few questions, and I'm sorry, Hack Daddy 45. But honest questions, so do the Democrats lie? 100%, they're politicians after all. Are they the president of the United States at the moment? No. Joe Biden lied as well. Joe Biden lied quite often as well. And he was called out by his fans as well. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden, so not that hard to admit that. How did USA give Greenland back to Denmark? They didn't. They never owned it. But in Trump's delusional mind, US... Well, if you think about it, Trump said that the World War I was ended because of the Spanish flu. Like... I'm not 100% sure, but we may be related. Are we? So I should listen to someone like you. I mean, no. No, you don't. But when Trump says something as stupid as like he's gonna decrease the price of pharmaceutical drugs by 1,300%, you might want to take a calculator and try to do that math. If you don't know immediately that is a complete fucking fabrication of reality, you might want to take a calculator. Or we have AI nowadays that can do the math for you if you don't know how to do maths, which majority of the people who still protect that fucking lunatic probably don't know how to do. Debbie, thanks for the follow, Kimi, as well. Just curious, is the only politician that ever lied? No. Definitely not. But he has one of the weirdest lies ever. He's lying about stuff that you shouldn't lie. Let's take the pharmaceutical prices, for example. If he said that he's going to reduce the prices by 80%, 90%, like he sometimes get it close, but then he goes back to that 500%, 600%, 1000%. Like if he said 80%, 90%, that would be incredible. But then he goes 1300%, 2000%, 3000%. Like what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Cookie, thanks for the follow. You don't need to make up that lie. 80% decrease on prices is insanely good. But instead he's... I don't know. There's something wrong with that guy. Dewey, thanks for the follow. Trump's dementia syndrome, yeah, real to life. Trump dementia syndrome is real, 100%. And Kati, thanks for the follow. What would you do for 2 dragons? That's a good question. I have not thought about that. I'll let that marinate for a second. Binger's gone, thanks for the follow. Donza as well, Brandy as well. Obama said that Obamacare was going to be great. Do you think it's great? No, none of the healthcare systems that are in the United States are good. Period. Like, all the healthcare systems in the United States are shit. If you have a healthcare system that can actually fucking bankrupt you, like, that's not a good healthcare system. Sorry about that. If you think that any healthcare system in the history of the United States hasn't been good, no, they haven't. Smash, thanks for the follow. Ours isn't perfect. Fuck no. But at least you can't bankrupt yourself by fucking getting sick or needing surgery. That's a good thing. Marmar, thanks for the follow. They live in an alternate reality cultivated online. They literally may as well be walking around wearing MAGA X VR headsets 24/7. God damn. You're spitting facts there.
That they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland.
Tell me, guys, all the MAGA protectors here. Why is Trump talking about Iceland? Just a bit of a question here. Whisper, thanks for the follow. Anyone, can you explain why Trump is talking about Iceland? Anyone? No, real to life, try. Just try. Or could it be that he's a bit old and he fucking mixes Greenland and Iceland together? He had a stroke. Should we all allow all those not paying into the system have the same healthcare as you? Yes, 100%. That's why I pay higher taxes. Is that people who are not as well equipped as I can have healthcare. Unlike you fucking greedy fucks, I don't care. I gladly pay higher taxes so that people who doesn't have as much as me can afford basic necessities like healthcare. That's the fucking different mindset that we have. I don't care. I have enough to take care of my family and my daughters and my wife and I. Brock, thanks for the follow. He's talking about Iceland because of China, Russia, and Europe is weak and pathetic. Balsamic vintages, you kind of want to think about that twice. Just think about that twice. Iceland. If you think about that. Iceland isn't the topic. It's Greenland. He fucked up. No, I'm not going to crap on you, but because that Trump is literally did the same thing. Except he mentioned Iceland way more times than Greenland. Kelly, thanks for the follow. If you make more than 34K a year, you're in the top 1% of the planet of Earth. What do you give to the bottom 99% on your own resources, not the other people? What? He's absolutely demented. Lewitt is claiming he said it was land of ice. Yeah, like, Karen lie with this like one of the worst. Robin, thanks for the follow. Princess Anne, thanks for that. Because Greenland has ice and Iceland has green, he's only looking at pictures like 5-year-old. I mean, I would be kind of worried if my leader was like that. Instead, like, at least they can talk.
A country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any.
Apparently he said that that's fine, 250% tariff then. He wants to mine for metals, that's why he really wants Greenland. Oh yeah, like, at the same breath he's inviting Putin to come to the Board of Peace and saying he's a threat to Greenland, so he needs to take Greenland. Like, he's not consistent at all. And that's because, like, he's just making up shit because he wants Greenland. He's just making excuses. Shanti277, thanks for the follow. He sounds like dentures are about to fall out. How to identify Trump supporter owns a Ford truck, poorly educated, has a Confederate flag on their lawn, thinks Earth is 6,000 years old.
Growth moving forward because
Green,
there's
thanks
always
for the follow.
a recession looming around the corner.
Well, you know, the one thing about economies and recessions is sometimes you get hit unexpectedly and there's nothing you can do about it. All brilliant people, but there's nothing. One example was COVID.
Billy, thanks for the follow.
Economy going at levels like nobody had ever seen. My first
Trump does not want Greenland for mining, but to destroy NATO for Putin. I think it's a bit of both, Namania. Like, Trump does want the rare minerals because there's a lot of, like, Trump has those people who have been paid a lot of money for his campaigns. So he does want Greenland for the minerals because they need them for AI as well. But then again, he also wants to destroy NATO for Putin. Sandra, thanks for the follow. We're trying to stop them, but we have too many idiots on this country. I mean, Congress needs to grow a set of balls.
Pandemic.
I think that's the issue there.
Came up with that name over a period of time. We won't get into that. But I heard the word pandemic. And I had a
I will never happen,
so
but does a great job of getting on your nerves.
I was with the two best pollsters, McLaughlin, Fabrizio, and they said, sir,
Williams, thanks for the follow.
George Washington and Abraham
Why are these
Lincoln,
weak
they
leaders
came
still
back
sucking
and
up
ran
to
as
him?
President and vice president, they couldn't beat you. And then what happened is the following day,
as you said, they're weak leaders. That's about it.
To stay tuned because there's something.
Cassandra,
really
thanks for the
bad
follow,
happening
Eric,
in
as well.
China. There are bodies laying all over Wuhan.
Like, Congress, yes, Congress is a problem. But it's also the centralized power structure that you have in the US. That one person can actually do stupid stuff that fucks it up for a lot of people in the future. And also today. If Congress worked as it is supposed to work, this wouldn't be an issue. I think Trump is blackmailing people in high places. Matt, it doesn't matter how many times you yell to the emptiness that you want to have a call. This is not that sort of a stream. If you're not interested in this, you can just leave. The checks and balances seem to only work when the president thinks they should work. Furthermore, I'm not taking a call from a random person I've never met. I'm streaming on different platforms as well. It's just one word and I'm banned from all of those platforms. So why the fuck would I do that? No. I mean, everything I've said so far, except the speculation why he wants Greenland, everything else is factual. United States didn't own Greenland. Spanish flu didn't end the First World War. China has the most windmills so far out of all the countries. If you can't read, I can't help you. We don't need to have a call for that. I'm not a fucking tech support for your ignorance of, like, world politics. None. I think EU needs to grow a pair of balls. We're in the situation because you guys didn't take NATO seriously. Thanks for the replies. I disagree, but here's a like. Take care. Thanks for dropping by, Balswing. I hate repeating myself. That's the issue.
Right around that certain building, that we talk about. I always
Love
say
your
they
hair.
come from Wuhan.
Thanks,
They did
Pamela.
come from Wuhan. And they were body bags. We saw it by satellite.
It's not a debate, yeah,
And they
100%.
said there are strange things happening in China. And so it began.
Pamela, also thanks for the
And
follow.
we ended up with the COVID, and the whole world suffered. We did a phenomenal job. I don't think we got the credit we deserve.
I believe that is
did
Europe who
something
allowed
that,
this to happen.
Operation Warp.
I mean, yeah, in a sense, I mean, there's so much Europe can do when your guy wins an election, you know? We can't really affect that. We are not the United States that are willing to do regime change. Where would NATO be without USA? I mean, it would function the same. I think it's like, it's not a debate that it wouldn't be as powerful, but it would still serve the same purpose. Definitely, like, would hinder the power structure of NATO, but it would still work as the same. 100% it wouldn't be that, like, it's not even a question. It would definitely not be as powerful as now. But it could still work. Jen Jalen, thanks for the follow. Shay as well. Do you think we will be impeached after the midterms? I don't think there's going to be midterms. I'm like growing closer and closer to that conclusion that I don't think midterms are going to happen.
A lot of people.
Jen, thanks for the follow.
Sometimes you get hit with things, nothing you can do.
We are so humiliated by this man. We are cringing. We are suffering. We are out of our minds.
Through it, and when I left, the stock market was higher than it was previous to the COVID coming up. And that was, I called it a great achievement. But things happen.
People in NATO lost their people because of us. I agree. I don't think we will have midterms. Why do you think that?
A matter of.
Well, because they've hinted it already. Of course, everybody said that he was joking. But second of all, he's already panicking. He's already told a lot of GOP members that if we lose, it's all going to be over. He's said that many times. And we know how much he hates to lose. And he's already willing to put 2 battalions ready to go to a state. So why wouldn't he invoke something more serious that would actually prevent from elections to happen? Of course, this is speculating. This is all on the borderline of conspiracy theory. But if that happens and we don't see midterms, I'll be here. I'll be here. He hates losing. He hates somebody saying no to him, and he hates losing. We know that. So you think that if there's even a slight chance that they're going to lose the midterms, that he's going to allow that to happen? He's already asked the question, like, how can they cancel the elections? Have you checked how many lies Trump told during his speech in Davos? His speech was quite long. I pulled up the eight most like funniest ones. Not like the most serious ones, but the funniest lies. One of the weirdest ones was like saying that Trump doesn't think that Denmark would come to them. Trump claimed the US has gotten nothing from NATO except protecting Europe from the Soviet Union, Russia. And we have never gotten anything, which is false because Article 5 was invoked after 9/11. And NATO countries came to US's rescue, as the agreement is. That's the one of the weirdest one because, like, that's the backbone of NATO alliance, is what happened during the 9/11. And that should be fresh in everybody's memory. No, fuck, Clinton lied. Like, one of the most famous lies was, like, during the Monica Lewinsky saga. You probably are too young to remember that, but if you don't remember that the Monica Lewinsky saga, during that, there's that famous, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And few moments later, that was a complete lie. It depends on what the definition of the word is. Trump is wonderful. Thank God she kept the dress. Taylor, Maria, thanks for the rose, and Alisa also. I also read, I actually got the message from YouTube chat earlier that EU is planning a trade deal with India. Maybe even more strong here, Euromasters trust. If we don't trust America, which should be more developer in army. Solar power, powerful, just not effective enough to replace the energy need to sustain the most basic level of life, so having more solar power is meaningless. EU not willing to do a regime change. What did you do in Romania? What did you do in Paris, Germany? Elections to form a coalitions that under... All leaders stretch the truth. Yeah. But I have to say that when I'm talking about Trump, I'm talking about those useless lies that he wouldn't need to tell. That's the difference. If we're talking about, for example, again, the pharmaceutical prices, that is a complete useless lie. But I think because he's a salesman, or was a salesman, I don't know if he's anymore, but he used to be a salesman, that anyone who's worked in sales, I worked for sales for over 10 years. So you kind of distort the truth to make things sound better. So I think Trump has that mindset still somewhere, and he hasn't really changed it to a presidential mindset. He used to sell children. Oh, god damn. That stings. You think if the US left NATO and you were forced to pay more to your protection, you would stop hating us for wanting the most basic level of... Ever, thanks for the follow. I pay $757 per month for insulin for a child. I presume dollars. Punky, thanks for the follow. Europe can't even protect themselves, and that's factual. Look at London, Berlin, Barcelona. Have you ever been to London, Berlin, Barcelona? There's nothing wrong with London, Berlin, and Barcelona. What up, Nigel? What up, Nigel? He doesn't have a presidential mindset. Definitely not. Do you know about Sasha Riley? I've listened to the tapes of Sasha Riley. And when he said that Epstein wasn't the big guy, the big man was Donald Trump. Yeah. I've listened to the tapes of Sasha Riley, and that's an interesting case. And especially because there were claims that he was actually in contact with FBI and the local law enforcement in Oklahoma, but they didn't take the case anywhere and didn't really take him seriously. Yes, I am Forrest Moam, 90 Day. Thanks for the follow. You didn't get anything from NATO, even if we forgot about 9/11. What about those passive feeling and security being part of NATO? That is also a promise Europe doesn't. Epstein said the same thing about Trump. Trump is the freak. I mean, it's not that far-fetched. How many guys do you know that fucks a porn star while your wife is pregnant? You're gonna need to be a bit of a fucking sicko to do that. You know? Apparently I'm not a fucking presidential candidate because I avoided doing that twice. Trump and Putin are working together dissolving NATO and will allow Putin free hand. Did you read what Lavrov said? The foreign minister of Russia. Lavrov literally used Trump's reasoning for Greenland for Ukraine just yesterday. Lavrov said that the US is claiming that they need Greenland for national security. That is the reason why we need Crimea for Russia's national security. And this is the exact same thing I said earlier this month, that Russia is going to try and use the same reasoning. I think US should pull out of all Europe and see where it goes, don't you? Days of love. I think US is probably going to, because Europeans are planning to. The European Parliament has formally suspended the ratification process on its US trade deal in protest against Donald Trump's threat to impose 10% tariffs on EU exports. So they are kind of already hitting back. And we know that, again, Trump hates losing and Trump doesn't take a no for an answer. So Trump is probably going to retaliate that, because that's how he works. When you pack Trump into a corner, he retaliates. He never accepts defeat. He never accepts he's wrong. He always goes for attack. You Fish, thanks for the follow. And anyone who's like read Trump's history knows that he's been doing that since the beginning, because his mentor taught him that. Never back down, never admit anything. Deflect and attack. Rebels are good. I don't understand why we can't get along. We are interwoven by trade, but the moron in chief. Exactly. And as I stated earlier, because of what Trump is doing, not just like regarding to Greenland, but how he's treating his allies, how he's treating everyone in the world. Trump is building up USA to be the same as Russia at the moment because of Putin. It's really hard for decades after Putin is passed away or the leader has been changed for the rest of the world to trust Russia. The same is now happening to USA. Like, it's going to take years for the rest of the world to trust USA again. It took Putin decades to do that. Trump is speedrunning it within a year. O'Doyle rules Trump dementia syndrome is completely real. TDS is short for Trump dementia syndrome. Marla, thanks for the follow. I don't like Biden. I don't think Biden is a good president and was a good president. I didn't vote for Kamala either. Well, to be fair, I couldn't vote, but I would have not voted for Kamala. How the Democratic Party fucked up the 2024 election was pure fucking absolute cinema. They changed from a bad candidate to a bad candidate. Like, you don't win elections like that. I like how Trump keeps talking about China and Xi Jinping always remains quiet. I mean, I think Xi Jinping is like, he doesn't really need to address stupidity. That's the difference between like leaders. I'm not saying, like, I'm always been really fucking vocal about Tibet's right, Taiwan's right, and also the Muslim Uyghurs in China who was literally put into concentration camps. The Uyghur Muslims in China. I'm not a huge Xi Jinping fan. But how he's handling this lunatic is A minus, B plus, probably. The only people bitching was MAGA because the Democrats were fine with voting for her. I mean, I don't know. If Kamala started the whole... if he was the original candidate, I think she could have done better. But I don't think she was ready to be a president, though. She did raise a lot of money, though. But it is funny that MAGA for years said that no female can be president because they're too emotional and they could just launch a nuke because of their hormones or something like that. Then you have this fucking man baby who literally decides which states he's gonna help if they said good things about him. If somebody says something bad about him, he's gonna just like retaliate. Every single decision Trump does is emotional. So I love that hypocrisy. Trump is like every fucking decision he makes is emotional. I have never heard anyone say that a woman couldn't be elected president from the right. Every fucking... It was fucking in the Fox News as well. No, Venezuela was because Trump's funders needed oil. So it's kind of that. And as we speak, he cancelled the tariffs on EU. What? Did he buckle down? Taco? No. Do you have a link? Do you have a link for that? Oh my god. Trump buckled down on pressure. Taco Trump. Oh, fucking weak bitch. I can't find it anywhere. You've been tacoed. Where the fuck is the tariffs then? The president added that if the deal is accomplished, he will not impose the tariffs that were set to take effect in February. Oh, he's buckling down. That's pathetic. It's a good thing though, because like if you think about it, okay, this is the best test for MAGA. Who pays tariffs? Like, imagine that. You want Greenland so bad that you're gonna punish your own citizens. That is next level. All you woke lefties are hilarious, especially when freaking over Trump. I mean, we've seen the playbook in the history, Sharkly. If you haven't read any history books, like, it's kind of understandable that you think that this is hilarious. I don't think it's hilarious. I think Trump is not only a danger to his own citizens, as we've seen, but he's also a danger to the bigger world states, you know? If US... Alejandro Rubiera, here's a bit of a newsflash. Do you know when Finland joined NATO? We weren't a part of the NATO for majority of our independence. Like, don't talk about Finland. I'm Finnish. Finland wasn't in NATO for the 99% of our independency. Read other news than your own local news. Then you can get a better worldview, you know? Consider the size of the United States, though. Yeah, we actually talked about this yesterday. That the reason why Europeans can understand a lot of politics going inside United States, around United States, like different states, is because a lot of us, when we read news, we automatically read news from our neighboring countries, which are the size of the states in the United States. So when we view United States as a whole, it would be the same as viewing independent countries in Europe. So it's easier for us to scan through that mass. But of course, if you're in the United States, you don't do the same. So when you're viewing anything outside, you don't really know what's happening there. Boston, thanks for the follow. I know when Finland joined NATO, so why the fuck did you say that, Alejandro? Like, we weren't part of the NATO, USA wasn't protecting us under NATO, and Russia didn't invade us. So, what the fuck are we talking about? That's one of the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Fox is the propaganda arm of Trump. People just want to argue for no reason. Do you have a YouTube? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. He's a Mexican Trump supporter. Don't expect much. No, he said that he's from Spain, I think. Well, in our states are attacking us hardcore. Yeah, true. That's not what you said, Alejandro. That's not what you said. That's why I'm coming down on you quite hard, because that's not what you said. Do you welcome immigrants? I'm a fucking immigrant. Why wouldn't I? I live in Ireland. I'm an immigrant. So there's a lot of immigrants I have as neighbors, and there's a lot of like natives who are my neighbors as well. We all get together. Everybody speaks the same language. Get out of Ireland and take England with you. No, no, no. Ace Mitchell, I already got honorary citizenship from a lot of Irish viewers a few streams ago. So I'm sorry, but the majority voted that I have an honorary citizenship. So you're kind of on the minority there. So fuck you. You know why? Because I wanted unifying Ireland. And also I talked, like, everybody bitch about the current government that we have here in Ireland. But everybody votes the same. Always the same parties are leading. Nobody wants change. So there needs to be something happening here. The youth needs to make a stand. Gee, thanks for the follow, and Angeline as well. You say Trump lies, you're not even from this country, so get the hell out. Get the hell out, give me one thing he lied at. Do you think truck prices can be lowered by 1,300%? Don, go ahead. That's one. Jason, thanks for the follow. Have you seen infographic video on what would happen if the USA pulled out of NATO? I'd love to go to Ireland, but I was an idiot about 5 years ago and decided to drive home half cut. Glad I was stopped, but now I can't travel anymore. Oh, really? Okay, thanks for the follow also, Laurie. I want to move to Ireland. Ireland is a beautiful place. People here are super nice. Of course, you have your own set of idiots, but because it's a small country, the small set of idiots are like really, really, really minority here. Why'd you move to Ireland? I got a job offering. My wife got a job offering, and we were thinking about moving anyways because, like, our kids. So better opportunities for kids on an English-speaking country than in Finland. You know, Finnish is quite a niche language compared to English. So if we moved here because, like, it's a better opportunity for our kids compared to Finland. Finland is an awesome place to live, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, it's not a good place if you want to provide the perfect opportunities, the most opportunities for your kids. Finland is a good place, though. McGregor for president. None of the Irish I know even like McGregor. Every time you ask anybody here about McGregor, they're saying that, fuck that rapist. That's how much they love it. You're very welcome to Ireland, Alicia. Thanks, Nigel. Hard to get into Finland. I mean, they did make it harder now, but I don't think it is. How about the Norwegian countries start colonizing? This guy is a stay-at-home husband. No, I'm not. I work 9 to 5. I would love to be. No. I would love to be a stay-at-home husband. Like, if my wife made enough, I would love to be a stay-at-home husband. Don't come to Texas. Was that a threat? I hope you didn't have that TikTok account for long, though. criminal record for DUI. Ah, shit. Come to Oklahoma. That's the state that I haven't given any thought, though. Texas is terrible. You're welcome here in Minnesota. Minnesota is actually on my state list. Like, because we've always thought about, well, before they kind of closed out the green card lottery, that we might be moving to the United States at one point, because I can work from the States as well. My company is actually based in Canada, so I can work from the States, I can work anywhere from the world. So Massachusetts, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Colorado. Colorado is a wild one, but I kind of like Colorado. You think Finland could resist the Russian invasion like you used to nowadays? I mean, our president thought so. Bro, why did you get rid of your testosterone? No, I didn't. I just used it all in my hair. Uniquely Nikki, thanks for the follow. San Francisco for you, pal. I wouldn't probably move to California, though. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of, like, warmth. So California is definitely out of the question. Boulder in Colorado is beautiful, yeah. Then we will raise your taxes. I don't care. Like, raise my taxes. Nice hair, thanks. I'm from Finland, so warm places aren't for me. Northern Carolina is not warm. Oh no, I thought somebody said San Francisco. Oh, North Carolina. I have a friend who lives in North Carolina. How about Ohio? They have a shitty NHL team, so no. I don't like Columbus Blue Jackets at all. Love from Finland, EU forever. I think the same, Holly. Like, wherever I move, I need to think about the NHL team, because I do watch NHL quite a lot, because I'm Finnish, so ice hockey is our thing. So Minnesota is one of the reasons why, like, I kind of like Minnesota Wild. But then again, if I really, really want to move where my favorite team is, I would move to Pennsylvania, to Pittsburgh. I'm a stay-at-home husband, and it's great. I cook and clean the fish. I catch while oh my, yeah. Like, who the fuck doesn't want to do that? Like, that is the dream. Titan Road in YouTube. I'm a stay-at-home husband. It's great. I cook and clean the fish. I catch while I out on my boat. My wife has a medical career that she loves, which makes it possible for me to be retired. Fucking A. Max, thanks for the follow. 100% that's the dream. Gatsting, thanks for the follow. Subscription, actually. What is your Liga team? I used to be a Jokerit fan until they went to KHL. So I don't really follow Liga that much anymore. But I used to be a hardcore Jokerit fan. Hi from Sweden. What up, Sweden? Pens are dope. Yeah, I've been like Pens fan since Mario Lemieux times. Like Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr was my like go-to. Like, that's the reason why I started rooting for Pittsburgh Penguins. And then we had a rough patch. And then we got our savior as Sidney Crosby. What has he lied about? I mean, fucking look any clip from the Davos. What do you think about Putin? Putin should be thrown in jail and never let go. War crimes. Choose, like, whatever you want to choose. Should be tried for war crimes and convicted and sent to Antarctica in a small 2x2 box. Like, I have roots in Russia, and also I know people in Russia and from Russia, and I feel bad for them because they're not doing that well financially, and now they're doing even worse because all of their financials are going towards a war that is completely pointless. Fallon, thanks to follow. If I could travel, though, I'd love to go to Ireland, Scotland, South Africa, India, Japan, Australia, and Papua New Guinea. That's a wild one. That's a curveball. Katie, thanks for the follow. Papua New Guinea. Like, South Africa, I would love to go. India, Japan, Australia. I have a lot of friends in India, so I would love to visit, and also in Japan. Who would you pick to run your country, Trump, Xi, or Putin? Oh, God. Now that's a question. That's a question. So I assume there is none answer, so I can not choose any one of those, right?
Being intelligent.
So it's one of those, and there is no other option. I would probably then choose. Okay, no, gotta choose one. All right, So the question is Trump, Xi Jinping, or Putin. Do I get to choose the admin that they're working with? Or is that also, if I choose Trump, it's going to come with Stephen Miller and all the other Nazis? And if I choose Xi, it will bring the whole Chinese Communist Party with it. And if I choose Putin, it will bring Kremlin with it. Or is it just those individuals? That makes a huge difference for my answer. What are the like limitations to this question? Dumb question. Only fascists would ask something like that. No. I'll humor this question because what my follow-up question to answer both scenarios. Okay. If the admin comes with it, so either Trump and Trump's admin, Xi and the Communist Party of China, and Putin and Kremlin, I would take Xi. Then I would take Xi Jinping all day. I don't want Trump's admin. I don't want the Kremlin. The Chinese Communist Party isn't like my number one pick, but 100% like I would choose that on like instead of any of those. All right. Then we need to choose individuals. Individuals is a bit trickier because I get to choose the admin then. So if I just choose the leader as like, if I choose Trump or Xi Jinping or Putin, I get to choose who keeps them in check. And then I would probably, well, it's not going to be Putin because he's an ex-KGB agent, so I can't really trust him. Nah, I'll take Xi Jinping again. I was like thinking about Trump or Xi Jinping, but I think Trump has deeper pockets. So, are you in America? Trump number one. So I would take Xi in both scenarios. Evening, Alisa. What up, Swordfish? Xi is not a pedophile. I'd take him. Well, that's a good reason. I prefer the Robin Hood approach. If they don't uphold the law, then we can do what they are doing. Maybe Brazil too. We've been married 41 years and I work on a road crew. My wife didn't marry me for my IQ. Lol. I definitely married up. I'm still surprised that my wife is married to me after being together for so long. We've been married 10 years and we've been together way more. Maybe Brazil too, but I feel like kind of get myself killed wandering off into the rainforest. I would really want to visit Chile. Like Chile is a place that I would really want to go. And also like history-wise, like if we're talking about history, I would really want to go to places like Syria, like Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, all of those countries that you can't really go at the moment. But I would really want to go them because of history.
And having intelligent people on the other side, because wars are the worst of all. Wars are worse than anything. But we can stop wars because that's sort of up to us. But things like dust flying in the air, wherever COVID comes from or whatever comes, sometimes you have to be a little bit lucky. But we are poised to have.
Are you in America? If not, good. I'm not.
Not only in this country, but anywhere. And you know, when you hear the kind of numbers that.
Me too, but not while fascists is in control. Yeah. Putin and Chip been on power a long time, and they're still not in good shape.
Pretty much your whole life, Scott. You weren't going to be a football player, I don't think. Scott was
Europe doesn't give a fuck about Finland. Yes, they do.
He was good at numbers, right? And he was...
Well, what is he blabbering about? Jay Har, isn't it weird to listen to him and you don't have any idea what he's saying? Trump was elected 2 people. Mistä päin? Well, Finland, of course, but I live in Ireland at the moment. But if you're asking, like, where from originally in Finland, I was originally from Uusimaa. Not gonna tell you the name of the town/city because it was quite a small one, so it wouldn't be hard to find that. Here, but praying for resistance. I'm praying for revolution in the United States. I want some fucking civil war stuff going on. I was just kidding. I don't. People say Trump is a fascist and a dictator, but have they seen how China and Russia controls riots? They protest Trump in Switzerland, so much for neutrality. I mean, I would be protesting Trump as well if he came to Ireland. Just for the shits and giggles. I would go there and heckle him. Like, pedo protector, and I would try to give him, flip me the bird. Trump lied to us, my friend. I want to go to Shibuya. The culture intrigues me, and I really want to try the little capsule pod things. Try the Peruvian mountains and rainforest. Oh yeah, that's the reason why I really want to go there. No, but definitely die if I went to Peru. If it isn't illegal miner or poacher, I'd be forest kills me. Pumpkinhead, thanks for the follow. What is Cody saying? Why is everybody hushing him? Too many Americans are underreacting, and I protest, but I'm astonished how few are out there with me. Yeah, because like we kind of saw this happening. You're brainwashed by media. Trump is king. Well, I would take brainwashed by media any day than to call Trump a king. That just means there's like you're literally missing half of your brain if you're calling Trump king. Doesn't believe USA is fascist. I mean, day by day, USA and China are looking like the same country. This is the funny thing I've always want to say, that 10 years ago, if you asked me which country would be harder to get into, because I talk shit about the Chinese government quite a lot and also about the USA government a lot, and I compared those 2 countries. 10 years ago, it would have been more difficult for me to get to China because of like, I was with Hong Kong and Taiwan and Tibet and also the Uyghur Muslims. So I wouldn't have probably gotten into China. But now, I think I would get to China easier than to the United States. Especially because I don't have my phone here, god damn. My phone is full of memes of Trump and JD Vance and such. So they would just stop me in the border, throw me in jail, and that's about it. Have you noticed first Trump was a racist? That hasn't changed. Misogynistic? Yeah. Felon. But Masuka, he was and is all of those things. Plus, you're less safe in America with ICE. Exactly. How's life after Karkkila? Good? Oh yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Life in Ireland is perfect. You guys are the leaders of the West, like, or not. I worked in a commercial real estate in the 90s. Trump was all those things back then. I mean, it's not a secret, though. Like, we know that Trump is a racist. We know Trump is a misogynist. And we know Trump is a felon. Convicted felon. And we know that Trump, well, okay, allegedly is a PDF. I need to use quotation marks. But he is a PDF protector, though. Leanne, thanks for the follow. You won't if the states pull out NATO, the world economy would change and Russia could actually come out top. I mean, the USA is asking for people who want to come into the country to show their social media activity. And just based on my Twitter, I definitely not gonna be allowed in. Steph's Apocalypse, thanks for the follow. Do you like Marco Rubio? Like is a strong word. I think he's kind of harmless. Compared to others, like compared to Stephen Miller or anybody else. As an American, I'd feel safer in China than I do in America. I bought a gas mask for my family. Michael H., thanks for the follow. The real Batman stopped defending a criminal. Hello, madame. Not a madam, though. Tribalism is not racism.
He was looking at numbers. He said, I've never seen anything like this. We're poised to do things that no other country has ever done. And, you know, luck, I hate to say it, but we need a little luck. We don't want to get hit by something that nobody could have thought. Whoever thought we were going to hit by a pandemic? You know, when I heard the word pandemic, I said, oh, that's
because there were 99% of illegal immigrants come from.
100 million people. It actually ended World
What are we talking about? They went blind followers. Have you heard Sasha Riley's testimony? We are up against pure evil. I heard.
Because all the soldiers were
everyone here, you need to go and listen to Sasha Riley's testimony. We don't know yet if it's 100% facts, but you kind of need to go and listen to it because that gives a lot of perspective.
The soldiers were so sick on both sides, and that war was raging, and they were all dying from the Spanish flu. They were sick as dogs. They couldn't fight.
Canada is playing with fire, getting in bed with China. I mean, USA kind of made that happen. Well, not USA, but Trump kind of made that happen. So can't really blame Canada. A lot of Canadians were kind of mad about it, though. But then again, you really can't. Imagine that you need to make a decision between USA and China. 10 years ago, it would have been USA, 100%. But now, you actually need to think those options. Does Ireland have immigration laws? Yes.
So we do, I mean, subject to that, and I always have to put a caveat in for it, but we're poised to have the greatest growth of any large country, I think any country that there's been. When you look at what's happening in the United States, it's really amazing.
Thank you. One thing that maybe keeps you up at night, I know you don't sleep that much anyway, Mr. President, is the debt. The U.S. debt is high, is now the biggest expenditure on your budget. How to get out of that impasse?
Well, the big thing is,
I already have a plan if Alberto separates, I'm joining.
Grow like this, we go from having a 37 trillion dollars. We go from having high debt to low debt. But we also are cutting expenses.
Is that any different from the USA?
We have extraordinary growth.
Well, of course, it's like if we're talking about immigration, it's less. But then again, Ireland is way smaller than the United States, and we're an island, so it's harder to get here.
You know, Switzerland's a case study. I could have gotten much more.
Why is it okay for the world to have
judiciously,
immigration laws?
I think growth, most importantly, and then.
I mean, Trump is spending more money. He's also spending money that he doesn't have at the moment. For example, the $2,000 tariff checks. Tariffs hasn't brought that much yet. Because he needed to put those tariff income towards the debt. But the debt is rising. And it's going to break 40 trillion in August. If he keeps it up like he has. So it's sitting at 38 at the moment, and it's expected to hit 40 around August. Yeah, 38.6. What's your plan if Alberto separates? You're joining what? ICE? The ongoing US naval blockade of Venezuela has cost an estimated $700 million. Hard to pay down debt with all the fraud. Hey, senior man, I have a question. If we're talking about fraud, this is one of my favorite topics. I'm all for locking up every single fraudster. But let's be consistent. Do you know how many fraudsters have Trump pardoned? You don't want to have this conversation because the fraud you're talking about is based on ethnicity, but you're not talking about all the fraud, are you? I'm all for every single person who's ever frauded should be put to jail. Papa Siri, thanks for the follow. What's your prediction with Greenland realistically? Even though Trump said that he's not going to use the military, I think he's going to use the military if he's not getting what he wants. Like this is not a hot topic in my opinion. Like, if you commit fraud, you belong to jail. You should straight to jail. Like, but let's not be hypocritical here. You can't really seriously talk about fraud that is happening in other states while the main voice horn for the fraud conversation is pardoning fraud all the time. Literally all the time. Pretty sure US will annex Greenland and Canada as a hedge against territory lost on global warming. Not a single American woke up this morning hoping we now have Greenland. This is just ridiculous. It is. Trump wants to end NATO. I think so as well. NATO can survive without us. We don't run NATO. It's going to be a bit weaker, but it's only illegal if they get you. But no, in human society. We have proven that it's not illegal if they get you because the president can pardon you. Do you think Russia would ever take Greenland? I mean, they've had the chance for a long, long time, and they haven't done it. It's an easy excuse to give that, oh, Russia and China are interested in taking Greenland, so we need to go there. It's a bit of an old excuse. You know, we're living in the world 2026. All the information about the history of the world is at your fingertips. Excuses every time to go and steal land, natural resources, or even, well, a whole country. The deal is done. NATO gave Greenland to the USA. We don't know what the deal is, though. Any keskiverto pasikuikka. I wouldn't really trust Putin's word, but then again, I wouldn't trust Trump's either, so...
Right now,
Listen to this.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
He's speaking to people from, like, Switzerland, which the main language is German.
Don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us.
Can I ask what accent you have? Love it. Sounds very Scandinavian. I'm close. I'm from Finland, but Finland isn't a part of Scandinavia, so...
So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled.
Dope, thanks.
We're going to hit 50,000.
Talentless Nugget, thanks for the follow.
The stock market's going to double in a relatively short period.
Trump is honest. He doesn't care. He's acknowledging Europeans stop changing narrative. What? Barbie Dubai. Russia and the USA saved the European public. talking about the Second World War. If we're talking about the Second World War, you can't really say Russia, though. Let's be historically accurate. Barbie, thanks for the follow. Because Russia didn't exist back then. Yeah, you didn't do it all. No. The Allied forces, and especially like Soviet Union, put some bodies on the line. I'm not praising what Soviet Union is or what it was. Well, it's not anymore, but what it was. But Soviet Union put the most lives on the line against Nazi Germany. And that's a fact. They also killed a lot of owns. That's also a fact. They killed a lot of their own people. A lot. That's also a fact. But yeah, the Soviet Union's lost the most, and also they were one of the major reasons. Trump is your daddy. Definitely not. Now we have a direct conflict of interest going on with our PM. Trump is just crazy, but his policies aren't focused around his business directly. Do you like socialism and communism? I don't like any economical policy as a basis. Are there some some parts of socialism that are good? Yes. But not socialism and communism has never worked because of human greed, which means that there's always going to be a group of people or a person who wants more, and it fucks it up. The same goes for capitalism. Capitalism is kind of the same as socialism in a way that it would be okay and works good unless of human greed. So that's why I don't think any of those economical ideologies work alone, because of human greed. Human greed is the one that fucks everything up. Just look at United States, for example. Just look at Soviet Union, for example. It's usually a group of people or individuals that fuck it up for everyone. Well, the Soviet Union collapsed after Chernobyl. Yes, quite a few years later, but yeah. Did you see the latest from Trump that he steps back from adding new tariffs? Yes, I do. Look at AI. AI is truly fucking technology upon everyone. Yes. And I think that even though people hate regulation, and I work with AI, but I do think regulation is really, really, really needed when it comes to AI. But Greenland is now in full play. Are you with a news team? No, unfortunately. Well, lucky for me not, because if I was a part of the news team, they might be forcing me to say things that they want me to say. And I want to be able to say that Israel is committing genocide in Palestine, and China is putting Uyghur Muslims to concentration camps, and the ICE in the United States is Gestapo, and Keir Starmer is one of the worst British prime ministers ever. I want to be able to say these things, and also Putin should be trialed for war crimes and crimes against humanity. If I was a part of a news agency, I wouldn't be able to say those things. AI is scary, especially when it's used for warfare. AI is also capable of doing so much more damage than warfare. Warfare isn't even like the worst thing. Manipulating the narrative is the worst thing that the AI can do. Aurora, thanks for the follow. ICE is not Gestapo, that is propaganda. No, it's a good nickname for them. If you don't want to be called a Gestapo, don't stop doing Gestapo stuff. That's easy as that. Janet, thanks for the follow. The Uyghur so-called concentration camps are largely the result of CIA propaganda and ops. Back in 2014, 2015, even Chinese fucking politicians went to prove that they had those camps, but they kind of fucked it up because we also saw how people were treated there. It's been a while since like that was a hot topic, but it was like 2014 to 2016, I think. Yeah, like I'm calling ICE a Gestapo as long as they're doing Gestapo stuff. Just like I'm calling Stephen Miller Joseph Mengele as long as he's using the same rhetoric that Joseph Mengele used in 1928. Like, if you don't want to be called that, stop using that rhetoric. You can call me leftist or commie or whatever the fucking names you want to call me. I don't care. What you are saying is propaganda. China has Muslim neighborhoods all over. China has nowadays Muslim neighborhoods all over. Yeah, 100%. But they did isolate and target Uyghur Muslims pretty systematically. Stephen Millimeter. Do you know what the big difference? This is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but do you know what the biggest difference between ICE in, let's say, 2011 compared to ICE in 2026 is? I'll give you a hint. It's something to do when you're about to detain or catch someone that you're looking for. Political polarization is the worst. Only Sits think it's absolutes. Due process. That's the biggest difference. Following procedures. No, Obama did a lot of horrible things that the media covered it. Supreme Court said racial profiling is okay. That's kind of sad if it is. Because, well, to be fair, ICE is doing it, even though Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller said that that's not a thing. But ICE is doing racial profiling. Meg, thanks for the follow. I mean, if we want to shit on Obama, we could shit on Obama for doing a regime change in Libya, and we can shit on Obama for doing drone strikes on US citizens. Like, we can have a full conversation about that. The issue with you guys is, I'm not a Democrat. I have no allegiance with Democrats. Obama worse than Trump. That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, Trump did so little on his first term, and he's speed running his second term to be the worst one. But yeah, I think Obama still probably, if we think about like destruction-wise, yeah, Obama probably leads still. Following laws have become optional in the USA, depending on who you are. Organic intelligence is much better. At least a sixth are allowed a family. You do talk like a Democrat. It's because you work with absolutes, Alejandro. That's because you think politics is like the opposite ends. And that's because, of course, we're talking about the United States. So you can't think the political spectrum anything else than left and right. But if you actually know anything about the political spectrum, it's a bit more nuanced than left and right. That's because in the US, you only have two major parties. Of course, you have your independents. But you also lump those independents in either left or right. It's because it's a dumbed down political system for the citizens of the United States. If there was too many options, you would get confused and not know what to do. So it's easier to have two. Yeah, left or right are the choices for the United States. And if you take those if you take Democrats and Republicans to, let's say, Ireland, or let's take them to Finland, neither of them would be even like left wing. Even the hardcore MAGAs wouldn't be that right wing. They would be more conservative. But conservatism isn't right wing. It's on the vertical axis. The horizontal axis is left and right. The vertical axis is conservatism versus liberalism. Trumpin vihaa höpöpuheet menossa. I mean, yeah. The USA takes left and right wing way too soon. Buddy, Cody, you want to know why that is? It's easier to demonize and also talk about your opponents if they're like on the polar, oh fuck, I can't talk. The polar end of the spectrum. It's easier to demonize them because, like, instead of saying that this opponent here, you say the left, because people understand that easier. The right is doing this. Like Democrats and Republicans are both doing the same. The right wing MAGAs are doing this. The left wing lunatics are doing this because it's dumbed down. Instead of doing what you're doing, like, here's a bit of a thought process for everyone. We have no leftist party other than maybe Green Party. And even Greens, like in Europe, are kind of not the proper left. But here's a funny little thought process. Try and find the last political debate that you can find that they were actually talking about what they are going to do instead of like how bad the opponent is. You need to go back in history quite a lot. Dennis, thanks for the follow. And that's the issue with political conversation. Because if you watch debates, 90% or even higher, the candidates are only talking about how this candidate is shit, that candidate literally eats puppies, that candidate, I don't know, fucks fire hydrants or something like that. Like, that's the whole thing. We don't debate, we argue. Yes. MAGA fascist has pushed the Overton window so far to the right that mass Nazis on the street is. Cody, slowly but surely that sort of a debate culture is coming to Europe as well. And I hate it. Divide and conquer, 100% Taylor, 100%. I hate that sort of a political conversation. Because, like, you just demonize the other side. I'd rather demonize individuals. That's better. Not even demonize, but. Are you calling Americans stupid? That's insanely correct sign. And no. It's a large country. So I think if you adapted that multi-party system in America, it might be a bit confusing. But I have friends who live in the United States that are feeling guilty voting every time. Sorry about that. Because the candidate they're voting belongs to a party that, even though the candidate seems like a good person, could be a good politician, but everyone knows that that individual does jack shit because the party decides everything. You don't have candidates for those people, and there's millions of them, even tens of millions of them, that doesn't really like the party itself. They like the candidate, but unfortunately you have those dominant parties that you need to vote. I'd love to have the right to bear arms. I'm lucky I get to keep my compound bow. The US has been deprived of our critical thinking by public schools intended to create drones. You probably don't know that those are countries. Azerbaijan and Armenia. Yes, I do. What the fuck are you talking about, Alejandro? I went to school in Europe. I know quite a lot of countries around the world. I can also name all the 50 states of the United States, which I'm really proud of. Like, everybody who's gone to school in Europe, like, knows the world map better. Oh, okay, sorry. I accept that, Alejandro, I accept that. Hey there and good evening. What up, Mark? Is education illegal in Spain? Nope. Education is also free in Spain. I think probably in the big cities it's not free anymore, but it used to be. You can call yourself anything but American. Well, because it hurts your feelings so much, I'm gonna call myself an honorary American. Alicia, I was telling you that Trump ended 8 wars. Allegedly. Imaginary wars. But yeah, he claims that he ended 8 wars. You can also buy master's degrees from Spain. That is true. Imagine him ending 8 wars. Yeah, would be nice though. He promised to end Ukraine and Russia war in 24 hours. And here we are, a year later. I was actually hoping that that would happen. I was rooting for that to happen. Of course, I knew on the back of my mind that that's bullshit. But of course, I was rooting for that to happen. Aihe tänään. The Davos speech from Trump. Kyoko, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I knew that was not going to happen. Then he was going to end the Ukraine war. Promises no more wars, but are creating wars. Grocery prices also on day 1 going down. He was wrong, but I don't think it's a lie. I think he had good intentions. I don't think he had. I think that was Jim V. Thanks for the follow. I think Trump saying that he's going to end Ukraine and Russia war was one of those instances that he was caught off guard. And he didn't prepare. And a reporter asked about it. So if you've ever noticed Trump telling really weird stuff, it's usually when he doesn't know what's being discussed or he doesn't have a plan. Then he just winks it. Usually it's 2 weeks. Every time you hear 2 weeks, you know that Trump doesn't really have a plan for that and he hasn't given any thought to it. But in Russia and Ukraine case, he needed to up himself. And instead of saying 2 weeks, he said 24 hours. That's what he does. Every time you hear 2 weeks, you know that he's making that shit up. He doesn't have a plan. I have noticed that too. Wow, thought I were the only one. Nope. Trump had a healthcare plan since 2016. Finally, he revealed his big healthcare plan, which is not really a healthcare plan, but okay, let's call it a healthcare plan for the sake of the argument. But he started saying that since 2016, he said that in 2 weeks, I will reveal the healthcare plan. And he took that 2 weeks from 2016 to 2026. That's the longest fucking 2 weeks ever. I also stopped 8 wars working on number 9. Okay, so Trump claimed to stop Armenia, Azerbaijan, but the conflict is still going on, so it's not stopped. India, Pakistan, they didn't have a war. They had tensions, so there wasn't really anything to stop. Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. Peace deal was signed with the US involvement, including mineral access incentives, but fighting has resumed in some areas, so the war is still going on. Kosovo and Serbia normalization talks are advanced, but no active war existed, so there was no war to stop. So, yeah. And we don't even need to talk about Israel-Gaza, because we kind of know that that never stopped. Even the ceasefire didn't stop. You can't call it a ceasefire if one side kills almost 500 human lives. You can't call that a ceasefire. So that war didn't end. And it's kind of wild to call Iran-Israel a war, because it was literally just Israel bombing Iran. Wait until Trump finds out about Saint Pierre and Miquel. Only a population of 6,000 to take over. As usual, he's selling magic beans, and maggots are still waiting for them to sprout. I mean, I stopped the war today. It was me against my wife. I negotiated a peace deal, and that was my 27th war this year. And because I didn't get a peace prize from Norway, because Norway decides who gets the peace prize, I'm going to take over California. California belongs to me. It doesn't mean that it belongs to the United States because a boat landed on the United States a few hundred years ago. There was my boat as well. A few hundred years ago. So they don't have a claim for that land. I was up for president 2024. Oh, in the past. Need it for Finnish national security. I need it for my security. Not national security. My security. And also the oil. USA, Spain property. We were there first. Nope. Nope. I was there before Spain. Way before Spain. I was there with the Vikings. We will never know because she will never be president. Who's not never... We would be... Yes, we would be at the place and doing much better than we are right now. If who was president? Waiting for Russia to offer to buy Alaska. Same thing, right? I think so. It's kind of wild that Trump didn't know that Russia was their neighbor. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Like, don't you own a map? Oh, Kamala. Okay. You know what? If I was a female and I ran as the president, I would use the argument that no female president around the world has never started wars. So that's why you should vote for me. No female has ever decided to nuke anyone. No female has ever started a war. No. Shari B, thanks for the follow. It's always the crazy men that start the war. Which is true. Am I a feminist now? I don't know. I don't think that logic makes me a feminist though, because like I think that women has more power than a lot of people know, and that's why they kind of want to limit the right for female voters in the United States. Did you see that? It is human nature to start wars. That's such a fucking scapegoat. That's so fucking stupid. It was human nature as well to keep slaves, but we kind of stopped that, you know? Well, not all. There's still like United Arab Emirates that are keeping slaves, and also Saudis. But majority of the world stopped, and also Qatar. But majority of the world stopped using slaves. Human nature was also having public executions and like mating your cousins and sisters and brothers. Although Alabama is still doing that though. But like other than that, I laugh when you're on. You're funny, dude. Lol, it's illegal in Alabama. But like Cody, you do have to remember that it's a stereotype. The family tree in Alabama is just one fucking trunk. There is no branches in that family tree. It's just trunk, nothing else. Which is one of the easiest jobs to paint. Like, if you want to paint your family tree, it's just one fucking line upwards. Yeah, I'm from America, and in the South, the family tree doesn't fork. Mark, thanks for the follow. Alabama tree is more of a circle. Oh, God. Brettvik, thanks for the follow. Eric Cray, thanks for the follow as well. I mean, and Francine as well. There's a town with my original surname in Finland, and a lot of like my ancestors come from that town, and unfortunately, I know from that side of my family, it's my father's side of family, a lot of the people in that town married their cousins, so the family tree was on that side of the family quite straight. But then my father decided to break free from that fucking thing and married a woman from a different family. You're Finnish? Yeah, I'm Finnish, yeah. Which was kudos to my dad. But it's not a like anomaly around the world still. Like, Alabama is not the only one. Alabama is the most legendary one. We really need to stop with thinking Trump is a real person. He is an empty shell that will blow in direction of the blower. I mean, what will happen if Trump isn't the president anymore? Like, that's the follow-up conversation with everything. My great-grandfather's name is Fisk. I can't tell you who my mother's side family lineage is, because it is a really, really famous family in Finland. I didn't inherit a dime because I'm not that close to them. But it is a really, really, really famous family in Finland. The damage is done. Just having a new president is going to fix it. I think so as well. Can't sleep with socks. Like, it's going to take a long time for the world to trust the United States again. And that's unfortunate. All right. Based upon, this is from Trump. This is from Trump. Based upon a very productive meeting that I had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, entire Arctic region. This solution is consummated, will be create one of the United States of America and all NATO nations. Will be a create one for the okay. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Additionally, discussions are being held concerning the Golden Dome as it pertains to Greenland. Further information will be made available as discussions progress. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and various others as needed will be responsible for the negotiations. They will report directly to me. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. No, it's not. It's not. Thermite, it's not. It's not. It's not Kala plus automatic rescue system. No. What is North Korea's news to you? What is French news? What? Stephen Miller wrote that. America is too weak to throw him into the trash, hoping for someone else to do the job. After Trump, we get less chaos until we can fix it. They played out to their people so that they believe it. America is less than 200 years old, stolen from natives via genocidal mania, and have caused more unwarranted wars in that short time to aid greed and power. I mean, that is a... Yeah, 250. That is a pretty accurate description, a summary. It depends who is the next leader, Call Me Joe. It depends who's the next leader, how long that's going to take. He didn't put tariffs on Russia, Belarus in April 2025. Now he's aligning with them. Yeah, Russia is one of the only countries in the world that he's never put tariffs on, which is telling. But then again, there's sanctions to Russia. All land was conquered at one point or another. I was wild land and taken by force. He does read news. No, he does not agree with Trump. Stop spreading lies too. Fiona Hill has tried to warn us about him. Stop lying. What? So they bitch slapped him, he backed off, and he's lying about the deal. Taco. But then again, as I stated before, we can't really trust what Trump says until we see that happen, you know. You don't read proper news. I'm talking about the host. What about me? Hey, thanks for the follow, Kevin. He invited Putin to negotiate on the Palestine land. How poetic. There's no representatives of the Palestinian people there. Kids were raped in the past. Are you going to rationalize that too? Oh, wow. Now, our conversation is taking a too dark turn here. Who should we trust? I mean, I would start from yourself. You need to trust yourself first. How do you do that? A good test is whoever is your like idol or whoever you idolize or you follow or anybody, can you call out their bullshit? If you can't, you need to work on trusting yourself to make that judgment, because clearly you lack the independence to do that. After that, you can start reading different news outlets, and then you can trust yourself to summarize what you're reading. Critical news reading is one of the most important skills to have in nowadays, especially because there's so much misinformation, disinformation. So be critical what you read. Read from different sources and see, are they aligning? I idolize baby Jesus, but only the infant version. He was obviously perfect, so I must be fine. I mean, do you idolize the Western version of Jesus or the real Jesus? Do you idolize the white baby Jesus, or do you idolize the correctly the correct ethnicity Jesus? Again, people are picking and choosing what information to use for their arguments. It's not that he's lying, it's the level he's putting it out, and that's not even reaching a fifth grader. I think like my biggest issue with Trump is like majority of the time he lies on things that are so easily to fact check that it's wild that he even says it. Like unnecessary lies. For example, the China windmill one. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, because that's one of the easiest things to fact check. The other thing is, of course, like every time Trump says a number, like if you can't say numbers or percentages, stop saying numbers and percentages. I think he actually said Iceland because he kept confusing Iceland and Greenland. Oh yeah, 100%. To be fair, he had like an almost 2-hour conversation yesterday. Then he took a flight to Switzerland, which is a completely different time zone. And he's probably dead tired because he can't go golfing or sleep or napping. So you do mistakes. But he did do a fuck up, mixing Greenland and Iceland. True, he said he was born in Germany and Sweden, which was also a lie. Like, he doesn't even care that you are going to believe it or not, just to hear his voice. But because of Trump, the cost of prescription drugs is down 1,500%. Trump, Netanyahu, Putin are a part of a club. All not for long for this life, thankfully. I mean, they're all fuckers, so thank God. Thank God all of them are all fuckers. 3,500 at least, minimum. Gas is way down too. I'll give you the last one. Headline says Trump supplied no specific deal. Of course not. They told him they would bend him over financially if he continued his bullshit. Like, I explained the pharmaceutical discount that Trump promised, which is the 1,300%, to my daughter. My daughter is 10. Well, turning 10 this year. And even my daughter understood that if candy cost 10 euros and I gave her a discount of 1,300%, that he would get the candy and I would also pay her money. And he said that that's not possible. You can't give a discount higher than 100%. My 10-year-old daughter understood that. NATO just gave Greenland to the USA and USA dropped the 10% tariff. Well, that's completely unchecked information. The only thing we know that there is some sort of a deal with Rutte and Trump, and if the deal goes through, he's going to drop the 10% tariff. We don't know what the deal is, and the deal hasn't gone through yet. So anything before that is speculation. Most Trump supporters aren't as smart as the 10-year-old. 2 weeks. We are probably getting a deal in 2 weeks. What would you do if Trump would disappear and you would have to solve his problems? What would you do? What would I do if Trump disappeared and you would have to solve his problems? Well, first of all, I would instantly say to Venezuelans that you can keep your oil. I would not let my oil companies go there. And I would help Venezuelans have an election that the United States wouldn't be affected, showing that what my predecessor did was completely wrong and fucking evil, like lifting up our image slowly but surely. Then I would, of course, tell Denmark and Greenland that, hey, sorry that the orange monster was a bit of a dick. I'm not going to take Greenland, but we're still staying in NATO. Then, of course, I would go to EU and make some proper deals with them. But yeah, I think the first thing I would literally do was give Venezuelans their natural resources back and also help them have elections. They're keeping the oil. The American companies were there before, you know. I know they were. They're not keeping the oil. What the fuck are you talking about? Under Trump, they're going to take the oil. That wouldn't help you in Qatar. But if I would try to fix Trump's issues, I wouldn't give a fuck about Qatar. Because I don't have any business interest in Qatar. Kendra, thanks for the follow. Qatar isn't paying my sons. Well, I don't have sons, but they're not paying anything for my children and my family. So I wouldn't have those ties to those countries. Saudi Arabia wouldn't be buying the Blu-ray rights for my wife's movie because my wife doesn't have a movie. I wouldn't have a holiday resort in Saudi Arabia because I'm not Trump. That's the biggest fucking issue at the moment. If any US president like Biden, Obama, Bush, Trump, they're just controlled by business. They're greedy fucks. I am Danish. What up, Henrik? Like, they are looking after themselves and after their families. Mainik Mama, thanks for the follow. And that's the biggest issue. And for some reason, the normal American doesn't fucking understand that. That at the end of the day, Trump doesn't give a fuck about you. He gives a lot of fucks about his family. Way more than you. And his special interest groups that help him get elected. Like the tech pros and the oil companies. As I said, like, the voters are the most stupid people ever. Because everybody they vote, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, all of them are already bought. That's why they should wear those fucking sponsor stickers every time they walk around, like the politicians. So you would know who is funding them. Just like in NASCAR. This politician is sponsored by Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, so forth, so forth. This is sponsored by APAC, the NRA, so forth, so forth. And then you have the dollar amounts. The big corporations though hate Trump because they can benefit from him. Exactly, they should have to disclose every single cent. 100%. A politician, first of all, shouldn't have any business ties. A politician should have no fucking business interest. No shares, no nothing. I feel like that's a good thing. Newsom is dealing with his own issues. Like, I'm sorry, but if you want to be a politician, work for the citizens and country, you should have no fucking outside interest making decisions for you. Ildaren. Amen. That's my political view. If I ever become or became a politician, that is what I would run with. Literally. Well, there would be other things as well, but that would be one of my main themes. Is trying to make politics corrupt-free. That you're actually working for. Trump says it's a long-term deal. It's probably 2 weeks. Jimmy Carter sold his peanut farm to avoid any appearances. Yeah. Is it like that in Europe, like in the USA? Yes. Although, for example, in Finland, you do need to disclose big donations. Anything above, there's Finns in the chat, it's been a while. Anything above 699 euros, right? Or was it 799? I think it's 799. So in Finland, any donation above 799 euros, you need to disclose who is giving that. But it's still up for corruption because, for example, the super rich people in Finland, they just donate under that threshold multiple times. Then you can donate anonymously. I believe Wales fines or fires our politicians if they are caught lying. Term limits for Congress. It's a long-term deal. But like, also one of the things I would run with if I would become a politician would be yearly performance reviews from your voters. So if I promise to you guys that I'm going to provide what would be like 2 giga internet for everybody who lives in my town, and I don't provide that to you, at the end of the year you have a chance to check what promises did I keep, and am I worthy of your trust to be a politician? Because politicians should work for the citizens, not the other way around. So if the citizens are not satisfied for the politicians, they should be able to say after a year that, hey, you need to get the fuck out. The very fact of a career politician breaks democracy. It can't work. I feel like they should see if they're doing what they're saying. Yeah, 100%. That's why they need performance reviews. What is Trump's Sport of Peace? Yeah, you buy your ticket to Trump's Sport of Peace for $1 billion, and that's Trump's way of trying to replace the United Nations. They would all get voted out. Yeah, that would make politicians need to work towards a unified goal, which is to make people's life better. Not the investors, not the big companies, not your benefactors. You would actually work for the people. That was my campaign speech. Unfortunately, I have no plans in running in politics, but I never say never. But that would be my campaign speech. It's like getting rid of fucking corruption. Even here in Ireland, like there were politicians who got actually sacked because they were caught for corruption. Literally the year we moved here, a few years ago. The first thing I read is like people were manipulating rent prices. Politicians. The same way safety was offered to business by the mafia. But Trump does need the money. And he has taken the money. Raila Puumala, thanks for the follow. All right, but now I need to cut this. I would love to talk more about politics, but as you know, I'm a working man. I work 9 to 5, so we're gonna continue this conversation tomorrow, hopefully. It was fun. It was fun. Now we don't need to agree with everything. We don't need to disagree with everything. But we can still have a conversation if we try to stay civil. Alejandro, thanks for the follow. As long as we try to stay on topic and stay civil, we can have a conversation. Thanks, Cody. Thanks a million. It was a pleasure. Thank you for this, very delightful. Yeah, we're going to be again here for tomorrow. Hopefully, tomorrow is going to be a bit more chill because I want updates on the Spain situation because there was that train crash and I read briefly that there was some more tragedies there. So I hope everybody's okay doing in Spain. So have a great rest of the day, rest of the evening. Stay safe. And especially if you're in Spain and if any of your family members were affected by the train crash, I hope everybody's safe because I know there was a lot of casualties there. So stay safe. See you guys.